beautiful friends, it's Scarlett here, and I hope you all are doing wonderfully. So I am here with Lily Bell, and I thought I would do a video for you guys about 10 different types of witches. So if you are new here to my channel, I post videos about paganism, magic, and tarot, so do please click that subscribe button if you are interested in those topics. And for those of you that have been following me for a while, I have a big update. I am actually going to be moving to a different apartment. I'll still be here in the city of Chicago, but I am really excited to have a bit more space, a bit more room to do more videos, more content creation for you guys. So it's something I'm really looking forward to. And yeah, I'm just really excited to get started and get moving and be able to create better content. So let's jump right in to the video. So 10 different types of witches. And there are definitely more than 10 different types of witches. I just thought you got to start somewhere, so I'll start with 10 different types of witches. And maybe in a future video I'll go over some more types of witches. But I think it's important before I begin to really define what a witch is, or what I view a witch is. And people might have different thoughts and opinions, but I kind of define a witch as someone who practices witchcraft. So that means you don't need to follow any particular spiritual system or religion in order to practice witchcraft. So you don't need to be Wiccan in order to practice witchcraft, or even pagan, because I kind of think witchcraft is something you do. It's an act. So a witch I would define as anyone who participates in the act of witchcraft. And though I would say there are many people who do use witchcraft as part of their wider religious practice. So some of these types of witches are connected to a certain religious or spiritual system. So let's jump right in and we'll get started on our 10 types of witches. So my first type of witch is a Gardnerian witch. And this is someone who follows the belief of Gardnerian Wicca, which was created by Gerald Gardner in the 1950s. So Gardnerian Wicca is a hierarchical system that consists of a high priest, a high priestess, and various initiations. So one is not really a Gardnerian witch until they have learned these specific traditions in Gardnerian Wicca and have gone through the proper initiation system. So, for example, I am definitely not a Gardnerian witch because I am a solitary, and I have not gone through any of the specific initiations or rituals connected with Gardnerian Wicca. The next type of witch is an Alexandrian witch, which is also tied to the spiritual system of Wicca. So like Gardnerian Wicca, it's a formalized belief system in that it includes kind of its own traditions and its own initiation process. Alexandrian witches do follow some of these similar practices and beliefs as Gardnerians, but it also includes a lot of ceremonial magic and understanding of the Kabbalah, so it does deviate, you know, a bit from a Gardnerian system. The third type of witch is a solitary witch, which is what I am. So high five to all those other solitary witches out there. I love you guys. And a solitary witch is someone who performs spell work and rituals alone and without a coven. And a coven is just a group of witches. So a solitary witch, this may be a personal choice, you know, to practice solitary, or maybe they just haven't found a group of fellow witches yet that they would like to work with. And a solitary witch can incorporate various different paths based on their interests and may or may not use their practice of witchcraft as part of a wider spiritual path or religion. So in that way, it's a bit different than Gardnerian or Alexandrian witchcraft, because as a solitary, you're given a lot more freedom to follow the path that appeals to you in particular at that time in your life, and that can evolve and change with time. Next, we have the eclectic witch. So an eclectic witch is someone who pulls from various witchcraft traditions for their spell work and their rituals. And they don't just focus on one type of witchcraft, but they pull their information and knowledge from a vast variety of different cultures, beliefs, and systems. So I would say it's also possible to be an eclectic witch and a solitary witch. Because a solitary witch is mostly defined by the fact that they practice alone, and an eclectic witch is mostly defined by the fact that they draw upon a multitude of different practices and cultures and systems of rituals and spell work. So I would consider myself both to be a solitary and an eclectic witch. So just keep in mind that a lot of these types of witches aren't necessarily self-contained within their own silo, that you can be two of them at the same time potentially. Next, we have a traditional witch. So a traditional witch is someone who takes an historical approach to witchcraft. They look at grimoires, witch trials, various witch lore, and different historical accounts to really lay the foundation for their own spells and rituals. And often traditional witches focus on working with the nature and the history of the place where they live, and may work with what's called the genius loci, or the local spirits. A hereditary witch is someone who was simply born into a family that practices witchcraft. Usually their knowledge is passed down from generations. Each family might have their own traditions and belief systems, though I would say just because someone is born into a witch family, that doesn't necessarily mean that they'll be more knowledgeable or powerful than a non-hereditary witch. So I am personally not a hereditary witch, as much as I kind of sometimes wish I was. That would be fun to have family members that also practiced. I am not, and that's okay. Our next type of witch is a hedge witch. And a hedge witch works with the liminal spaces and the spirit realm. So in the past, a hedge marked a boundary of a village or a settlement, and thus represented the boundary between our physical reality and the spirit world. So a hedge witch may be skilled in crossing that boundary through things like astral travel, for example. A kitchen witch enjoys making their home and surroundings a sacred space. They often like to incorporate witchcraft with their cooking. They put their energy and their focus into the food and the meals that they create. They care deeply about the ingredients, may have their own herb and vegetable garden, and may make an effort to eat seasonally as well. The next type of witch is a green witch, and green witches are extremely nature-based. They are likely to be in tune with the seasons and often use natural materials to make their own magical tools. They most likely also try to perform all their spell work and rituals outside in nature when possible. The last type of witch I'm going to go over today is a cosmic witch. And a cosmic witch incorporates astrology and even astronomy into their witchcraft. So they most likely closely follow the alignment of the planets and the stars, and they will coordinate their spells and rituals based on the location of planets, stars, and the moon. So I hope you enjoyed this real short video about 10 different types of witches. And like I said before, there are many more types that I did not go over today. So let me know if you're interested in having me do a part 2 of this video talking about some more types of witches. And do please comment below, what type of witch are you? And keep in mind that you don't need to necessarily box yourself into one of these particular types. For example, you can be a solitary, and you can also be an eclectic. You could be a hereditary witch, and you could be a cosmic witch. So there are, you know, ways to incorporate multiple types of practice and spell work and stuff into your own personal practice. And in a way, that's what makes witchcraft to me interesting. I like that ability to draw upon different systems and different teachings and understand and use that as a way to further develop my own personal practice. So if you did like this video, be sure to hit that like button below and do subscribe if you have not done so already. And I'll see you guys soon.